Hey everyone, welcome back to Urban Pro Wrestling. And as I mentioned before, we are acquiring talent. We are actively trying to do that. And so, ladies and gentlemen, our newest signee, Sean Hawley. How are you, man?
Doing great, man. Glad to be part, and can't wait for this man, like this whole thing to start. It's dumbfounding to me. Like, I'm one of the few that you guys are choosing. Like, I'm so ready for it.
Us, we are super happy to have you. Just because we really want this to be built up. We were looking for people who are hungry, and you definitely fit the molds. And what I always like to do is I always like to do this interview with people just so that way the fans can kind of get to know you, the person, the character, all that. So my first question is, and I always like to start this one early, is because professional wrestling, as we both know, is a wild industry, and definitely not for the faint of heart. So, out of all things, what was like? Yeah, this is the industry I'm going to be good at.
It's pretty much the same story as everybody probably gives you. Is like it starts when you're a child. Like you can watch a certain match or you can watch a certain wrestler through either WWE or Impact Wrestling that they call it now. And you see that one person or you see that one match and it's like I want to do that. So it just carries from there, and then it just snowball effects going down, and it just makes it into your life, and you just want to do it like day in day out. And it's like you can finally find a place to get there, and it a dream becomes a reality, and that's pretty much what happened with me. So um I watched Rey Mysterio versus Randy Orton, and I was a big fan of Randy Orton back in the day, and it just clicked because like I liked how Randy, was the heel bad guy, and like how he was young, cocky, arrogant, and everything else like that. And I was like, that can fit me. Like I can be that guy. I can turn it into a whole nother thing. I could be a big heel as well. So pretty much from there, it just trickled down, and I found a wrestling school, and from there, it just became a reality.
So was Randy like the only guy that was kind of like, yeah, this is where, that was like most of your inspiration to be a wrestler from, or was it, or were there others?
There's definitely others. Guys like Shawn Michaels, Edge, Triple H, and a few others that as I watch wrestling more down the line, Darby Allin as of the past couple of years, Kenny Omega from coming up from pretty much never having training, and he trained himself and became this huge superstar as we see today. Um, Even female wrestlers, like Lita, how she was pretty much like an outcast and she did pretty much whatever she wanted. And that's the great thing to see, like these female wrestlers doing stuff that a lot of people wouldn't expect them to see, and they gave it to you, so it makes it a big thing. But yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of superstars around that definitely give me inspiration, and somebody who's pretty much taken me under their wing, who's definitely gave me a thing, is Zach Monstar under his wing, and he's guided me a long way. It's definitely the rest of my career where it is today.
So, speaking about training and all that, was there anything that you kind of felt? I have some, what I've been told is that there's kind of like two types. It either just clicks and you're a natural, or it takes a lot of effort to kind of get it. Which one were you?
I think I was probably about in the middle. A lot of it clicked because obviously, like I studied wrestling, I watched wrestling growing up and everything else like that. And I used to play football and stuff like that in high school and stuff like that. So I had the athleticism in the bag. So that was perfectly fine. But once you actually step up into the ring and you're taking the bumps and stuff like that, it is a little complicated and stuff like that. But you know, it varies for everybody. Like you said, some people can get it like immediately. Some people take months to train, years to train. Um, I think it kind of clicked a lot easier for me because of having the athleticism background, having the knowledge of wrestling and everything, seeing how moves were taken, how take bumps in the ring and stuff like that. I think it took me right about 5 or 6 months to get my like actual first match. Um, so yeah, it pretty much came pretty smoothly to me.
Speaking about your first match, how was it?
So my first match was actually like a student battle royal. Um, at a school that I was at that I, no offense, will not mention. Um, I was in a student battle royal, and like they gave me the opportunity to stay into the last four, I believe it was. So I had a good running in it, and yeah, it was a smooth match. Like obviously, battle royals don't go over very easily, but I felt like that match actually went over very, very smoothly. Like it was, kept on time, it was kept on pace, and everybody knew what they were doing, and it match went very smoothly from what I know.
And I always like asking because I've always felt like in like psychology is super key in wrestling. Um, how important is that to you? The in-ring psychology.
It's very important because if you get lost during a match, it could definitely mess things up. Obviously, you would love to have an experienced person with you, or both people have the same experience, where it's like a higher experience, where you're not going against somebody who's like newer. Because if you have two new people and they don't fully understand it, the match is probably going to go downhill very fast. Because I'm sure most of the fans know it's pretty much pre-called. Everybody knows at that point. But if you're not going to remember spots in your match and you're not going to remember certain things that you're supposed to be doing in the match, it could definitely turn for the worst in the long run, or it could turn out for the best. Who knows? Um, but it's very big on me to know like this is where you need to be here. This is where you need to be later on. Because if you don't, then it destroys the structure of the match, and it could lead to where a falling out of the match happens, and it could lead the match falls apart, and you're not going to have that great match that you called in the back, or that great match that you wanted to have. Because at the end of the day, structuring is very, very big in the match because it's kind of like a storybook. If the book loses interest in midway through and then it changes its course after that, and then you're like, what's going on in this book? Like, what do you want me to know about what's going on? So it's like a
Yeah.
storybook. It's kind of like a whole book, and it's like a movie per se too. Like you don't want the movie to be going off great and then like somebody forgets to do something and it just shoots backwards and it's like we already watched this. Like, what do you want us to learn? So it's like, okay.
So was like sequencing ever hard for you? Because having I'm assuming I don't know, but like having to have this, that's got to be insane.
No, not really. Like I have a really good memory on stuff, so like it helped. But I know there is a time that I did forget because like I actually took a bump the wrong way and I bounced my head off the mat and I forgot a little bit. But like after like and then pretty much after I forgot the one spot, we kind of like talked it in the ring and said, hey, like this is where we're going here, this is where we're going next, and that's a big thing. Because if that person that you're wrestling with, obviously they have to care for your well being, so they take care of you. It's like they can tell like you kind of screwed up here or there. Easy rest hold or take it to a spot and be like, hey, this is where we're going from here. This is where we're gonna go next. And it's like, okay, clicks in my head. This is where we're at, and then you can just continue further on and stuff like that. But if you have like a legit injury, like concussion or whatever, don't continue the match. Just go ahead and take it home. Don't put yourself in danger.
Yeah, safety is absolutely key.
Definitely.
What I wanted to also talk about because you briefly mentioned Zach Monstar. How influential, like, was there anything that you could like tell us, of course, that was just, kind of how did he necessarily guide you on the right path, as you said?
So I was kind of like per se lost per se. Like I couldn't really find out who I really wanted to be and who I really wanted to be, and it was just a guidance from him saying, like just be you. Be what you want to be. You don't have to play a character. You don't have to play this or that. Play what you know, and that picked up pretty heavy on me. Like because like me as a heel, I can just be me, but just turn the a hole up to like 10 and be like, hey, like you screw them, and everything else like that. Like you guys have seen my heel promos, like I just turn it up a notch. But like me as a face is just me. Like that's just how I am as a person. You know, like I'm genuinely a nice guy. You know, like I'm approachable. You know, like, anybody wants an autograph, anybody wants to talk, like I'm open for it. Like I don't really mind whatsoever. So it's just that. And then Zach's taken me under his wing to where, you know, he's, you know, trained me, he's, you know, led me the in and outs of wrestling, and he's, you know, he's definitely been that big brother figure that I haven't had before. So it's definitely great to have Zach there, you know, because if I do something wrong, he's gonna be on me for it. And, you know, he definitely guides me the right direction that I need to be going.
So, you know, kind of segueing to now that you're kind of improving clearly, what do you feel is like the next step that you really need to take to kind of, you know, elevate your game a little bit?
Uh, like there's always room to learn in wrestling. That's the thing. So like I can't just post it on one thing that I need to do. Like because wrestling, no one can fully understand and fully, you know, have. Like wrestling is always, you know, evolving and becoming bigger, and more and more get involved in it. So it's like you can't pinpoint one thing that you have to keep going with because wrestling is always evolving. So it's kind of a hard question to answer on that one. But there's one thing, it's probably psychology, like learning exactly placement of the rings and stuff like that. Because obviously not every ring is the same size. Some rings are 20 by 20, some rings are 16 by 16, some are 18 by 18. So it's all in, I guess I would say more ring placement and stuff like that. It would be like, I guess, the biggest thing. But like I said, like wrestling is always evolving. So it's kind of hard to pinpoint just one exact thing that you need to learn.
So I'm really curious because you mentioned ring sizes, and is there like a different, like is it more complicated in a 16 by 16, 18 by 18, or 20 by 20?
Oh, not really. It's just pretty much a little bit more steps when hitting the ropes and stuff like that. And it's like a 16 by 16 is a little bit more tighter than a 20 by 20 because you have like a little bit more like, you know, give in the
Breathing room
ring.
there.
Like a 16 by 16, when you bump in the middle, it's stiff. Um, it's pretty rough. And then a 20 by 20, it's a little bit softer. You know, like it feels a little bit better. But pretty much it's all in steps, and then like depending on like how the wrestlers are and stuff like that, like move sets and stuff, it all varies off of that. Like honestly, 18 by 18 is not too bad. Um, I just feel like in my mind, a 16 by 16 is.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing just by the match experiences, it's been quite brutal. And
Yeah, a little bit.
shoot, okay. And you mentioned Randy Orton earlier, and I wanted to like find a place for it. I think now is the best time too. I seem to notice everyone that is signed loves to be a heel. I'm trying to figure out why. So, so was it just Randy Orton that kind of initially got like the I want to be heel started, or was it just seeing how easy it was, or just how cool it was, if you will, to be the heel? Like, what was the deciding factor of you know, face is cool, but heel seems better?
No, it's just on like I guess like the new generation like loves being the bad guy, so it's like everybody wants to be the heel. So it's like, oh, I see this guy being a heel and he's doing it pretty well. I can do it too, you know. And I think what finally led me off to like when I finally started wrestling and stuff like that, what led me to finally want to be a heel per se was EC3 because of the way he talked on the mic. He played on the mic so well and like gave the fans what they wanted as a heel. So it's quick and easy. And CM Punk, for instance, when he was doing his whole, you know, uh, Summer of Punk and his cult, or before the Cult of Personality, actually, like he pretty much said what he wanted, and it kind of put him out as a heel. But it was kind of like he was a tweener because it's like he wasn't really trying to be the bad guy; he was trying to be the guy going against authority. So I think Punk on the mic made me more of like wanting to be a heel because of the talk. But like wrestling wise, it was Randy Orton like wanted me to be a heel.
Wow, because that's like super hard to like follow up because you got two completely different um ideologies right there too. So microphone wise, and then you also mentioned EC3, which is even harder. It's like how do you how do you follow that up? Like and honestly, that those are three great inspirations. But how do you kind of take what they've done and incorporate that into your own style? It's very tough to do. I could imagine.
So it sounds hard, but it's kind of easy in a way. Like, as EC3, you have the cockiness. CM Punk will just pretty much tell you how it is. So you can easily put cocky and putting that together. That's it can kind of be a tricky, but it kind of works. Then Randy Orton's like move set and stuff like that, wrestling wise, like psychology, it's like pinpoint. Like if you can click all three of those together, then you're good to go. But like obviously it is tricky. You have to like implement each one into each other and like pretty much put it as a puzzle piece.
And in terms of like putting everything in like a puzzle piece, was it ever hard to kind of sit there and put it all together like that? Like, all right, this goes here, this goes there, this is where I want my personality to be here. Like, was it ever hard to necessarily craft Sean Hawley?
Not really because like I said, like the face side of me is just me. Um the heel side, yes, because it's like I'm not really that guy as an a hole as I am on like the heel side of myself because when I was playing a heel, I was just like just throwing shade at everybody. And, it it's like I don't like you, and I'll start talking trash about you and like saying stuff, and it's like that's not how I am in person. So it's kind of like yeah, it's a little rough, but like it clicked because like when I usually go out, it's pretty basic to me, and it just free flows. So I don't really have to worry about like am I gonna screw up here or am I gonna screw up there? Like I don't have to remember lines because like anytime I've done a promo, no one's handed me a script and said, "Oh, we want you to read this and we want you to read it verbatim." I was just told, "Hey, here's a mic. Say what you want to say. Just keep it in this context and just leave it in that context." So it made it a lot easier rather than being like, "Okay, I got to remember this line, this line, this line, and just read it verbatim." I've never been given a contract or not a contract, but I've never given a script like that. So I don't have to like worry about that factor. Like I've always been able to like freelance and just say what's on my mind.
To follow that up, you what are your goals, in professional wrestling? Because I've so far I've had a different one for every single person, so I'm wondering what's yours.
A lot of people will say WWE. WWE by far is not my goal. If I get there, cool. But I'm not gonna say WWE is gonna be my be all end all. There's so many promotions out there nowadays that you can get noticed from, and it's insane. Like, no offense, like AEW is climbing the charts right now. Like, obviously, when you have wrestlers and you have people who love and care for wrestling, you're gonna get great product. And I might get called a mark from some people for saying that, but it's like just look at the evidence. It's all there. Like AEW is killing it. Impact, like it's there. Like it just needs better management per se, but it's there. I would say ROH, but ROH is starting to fall down a slump. Well, back in the day, ROH, I would say. And you got companies across the sea like ICW and all these other companies. New Japan, like there's so many places to get out there. It's like I just want to wrestle. Like I don't want to, be crammed in a corporation and told, hey, like this is what you're gonna do, this is your name, and this is how we want you to be. Rather than going to a different promotion saying, hey, we love you as who you are. Go kill it as who you are, and if things aren't what we really thought it was, then hey, we're gonna let you go. But there's so much freedom in other promotions anymore. It's just like that's what wrestlers want. We just want to be ourselves, and we want to be the characters that we've built from day one, and companies are giving that to you now.
Creative freedom, yeah. Yeah, I think that's really interesting, because then my next question is, what are your goals in UPW?
There's a lot of goals in that company. Obviously, titles are going to be one. Being the top name is going to be another. Because I want to put my name on the market. I want to put my name on pretty much those headline and flyers that you guys are going to have. Like, I want to be that guy. Everyone will tell you, hey, I want to be the world champion of your company. I don't need to have your title to, show that I'm the best for your company. I'm going to go out there, show what I can do in the ring, and give everything I absolutely have to put in that. Because a title doesn't make a person. A person makes that title. So if I'm holding that title, you're pretty much going to have to kill me to get that title off me, because I'm not going to let that title go. But in the long run, like I said, I don't need a title to make a name. I can just make a name just being like, that's just how it is.
I had another question, but I think that was so smooth that I don't think I should even ask anymore. Like that right there was like perfect. So, with that, we're gonna have that there, because that was really awesome. And do you have any social media that you want to plug?
Sure, why not? You can go ahead and follow me on Instagram at Sean_Hawley6. Follow me on Facebook at Sean Hawley. That's pretty much it. Like right now, because I'm not really following Twitter right now because there's so much controversy going on in Twitter. So it's like I'm not a big fan of Twitter right now. But if I do get back on Twitter, I will definitely give it to to you guys and let you guys have it. But right now, Twitter is not the thing to be on right now because so much controversy, there's cancel culture and stuff. Like I just try and stay away from it. I just focus on wrestling in my life and go from there.
Well, for us, follow us on Instagram at Urban Pro Wrestling. We have a Facebook page, Urban Pro Wrestling. We have a Twitter, Urban PW, and we also have a YouTube channel where you guys are going to be watching this on. So why haven't you already hit the subscribe button? Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and even comment below. Ladies and gentlemen, we are soon having merchandise just like the one you're seeing. So again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please do subscribe. April 2022, we will be in full effect. Cannot wait for our first show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. Have a great one.